Endurance sport has never seen anything like this. Teams of two racing every hour of every day for 3 months, non-stop around the world. The Barcelona World Race will head into the most dangerous and wild oceans on the planet, and will test sailing machines and human relationships to breaking point. Teams in the Barcelona World Race have been at sea for over 2 months. 9 boats started, but just 5 are still racing. The fleet may have taken a battering in the Southern Ocean, but the leaders are about to complete their sentence in the icy waters of the Deep South. Patrick Verback, the French-Irish team, are approaching the tip of South America, where they'll round Cape Horn and head north up the Atlantic. In pursuit is the British Hugo Boss, skippered by Alex Thompson, who's already broken a world sailing speed record in the race. Partners for 2 decades, Dominic Varve and Michel Paré aboard Temenos, are racing neck and neck with the all-Spanish entry, Mutua Magdalena. There's barely 100 miles between them in the battle for third. And the oldest boat in the fleet with the youngest skipper on board, 26-year-old Savannah Scoffier and Albert Vargas on Educación San Fronteras. They're 1,000 miles behind, but in a race where many of the favourites have broken boats and been forced to retire, resilience may be rewarded. After 61 days at sea, race leader Patrick Verback has only the final miles of the Southern Ocean left to sail. Rounding Cape Horn, where the vicious Southern Ocean is funneled through a narrow gap, will be a seminal moment in the race. It will signal a safe passage through the world's wildest oceans. Oceans that nearly half the skippers who started did not get through.
Just before the Cape Horn, you know, you can have 70 knots of wind, and that is not so easy to sail in 7 knots of wind. You just try to go forward, but you don't try to push your boat, you try to save your boat. When you turn the Cape Horn, it's the end of 1 month of ugly weather. You're free.
Cape Horn is obviously one of the most spectacular places in the world, and from a sailor standpoint, it has such a sort of history. And it also signals the end of a very, very difficult part of the race. The Southern Ocean finally comes to an end at Cape Horn, and you go back into the Atlantic.
At dawn on day 62, the leaders of the Barcelona World Race, Patrick Verback, round Cape Horn and head north up the Atlantic. On board second place Hugo Boss, British skipper Alex Thompson and navigator Andrew Cape are plotting and planning how they may be able to make an attacking move and take the lead.
I noticed Verback are going through the Lemur Straits there, which I wouldn't even bother with normally. We'll see how it goes for us, but I wouldn't go to the west of the Falklands if you paid me.
For British skipper Alex Thompson, this is the furthest he's ever got in a non-stop round the world race. But if they're nervous on Hugo Boss, they're not showing him.
72 miles to the Horn.
Woo!
No more going south.
What's your biggest worry about going around the Horn?
No worries. Do you have any worries?
No, I haven't got any worries. And what's going around the Horn mean to you, Capey?
Just getting out of the Southern Ocean, getting warm, I'm heading home. That's the main thing. No more going south.
It's been just over 2 months since the start of the race, and for those who've been left at home, the end cannot come too soon.
This is quite a long time. And about a week ago, I was well fed up with it. You know, you just think, God, this is annoying. But then I went to London, spent some money, and felt much more perky.
Well, has it been too hard, has it?
It's been hard, man. Tough. Hard as hell down here, cold, grey.
The Gale wife doesn't say, look after yourself, because she's known me for long enough, he knows this is what I do, so she's not worried. She's probably maybe inwardly a bit worried at times, but I never see that side.
You can't spend your whole time being a nervous wreck. You know, you just can't live your life like that. I mean, I've been with him for 25 years or something, and you can't spend your whole time thinking, oh my God, you know, because he's chosen to do what he's doing and he loves it.
In the early hours of day 64, British boat Hugo Boss at last rounds Cape Horn.
Goodbye to the Southern Ocean.
What does that mean? Is that a special seaman's?
Yeah, I don't know, picked it up in a movie or something I've been watching.
Between them and a first place finish in Barcelona, just over 6,500 miles of open ocean, and just one boat, race leaders Patrick Verbeek.
We're 800 miles away from Verbeek, Jean-Pierre Dick and Damien Foxall. What do you reckon our chances are?
Still got a third of the race to go. To be honest, it's unlikely we'll get in front of them unless something really bad happens to them. Yeah,
and we wouldn't want that, would we?
We don't want anything bad to happen to them. But we'll just keep racing as we have been, going hard.
Several hours later, something did happen to Patrick Verbeek. The forestay, a vital piece of rigging for holding the mast up, failed.
Jean-Pierre was at the helm, and I was down below, big bang, and I go up on deck and find the...
I was there.
Find the forestay gone with the sail weight swinging around, and the furling drum on the end of the sail just trying to take everything out, the rig, the rigging, the radar, the sail. It destroyed the sail. It was a pretty hairy few moments. Could have easily lost the rig.
I thought to myself, oh no, the race is going to end there, and it was very shocking for me.
We managed to furl the sail up even though we were in the middle of a squall by attaching the whole thing to one of the Genoa drums and furling the whole thing up, but we were very, very lucky. And here we are in the South Atlantic trades. We've got our good lead.
At the front of the fleet, it's an intense tactical game. Further back, though, when a wild Southern Ocean storm is descending on Education Sin Fronteras. Isolated at the back of the fleet, they're trying to escape the worst and have headed south. On board, it's a frightening time.
It's the grey wall, a marvelous wall. You feel really that you are far away from everywhere. You are really far. And now for Sylvain, is one of her goals is to arrive to the Cape Horn.
It's something amazing in your life to do this kind of goal. Sometimes I'm scared about going because I didn't do it before. I sailed a lot, but never in the big south.
For 26-year-old Savannah Escoffier, sailing is in her blood.
I am from a family where everybody sails. I was starting to sail, I was 3 weeks old.
Her father Bob made his name in ocean racing. In the Escoffier family, the call of the sea has taken many offshore.
I'm not looking forward for not seeing people we love for 3 months. Family, friends, it's really hard.
Savannah comes from Saint-Malo in Brittany, home to her and her boyfriend of 5 years, Julien, a professional yachting photographer.
Of course, it's difficult to when your love is away.
Allô?
Allô?
Ouais, tu m'entends?
Ouais, je t'entends bien.
I don't know if I will contact home a lot because I think it's not so easy for the people who stay on land. It's maybe harder if you phone them often.
I think it's very long. I hope everything's still all right until the end of the race.
Just ahead of Savannah, the battle for third place rages on. Approaching the Cook Straits in New Zealand, all Spanish entry, Mucha Madrilena, could have been forgiven for thinking third place was all theirs. The boat in front, Temenos, was forced to stop in Wellington, concerned her keel was in critical condition.
We go a little bit slowly, so we save the keel, we save the boat. But to go to the South Pacific with that, we cannot, in our mind, it's no way to go.
So the all-Spanish team discovered that the keel problems on their rival's boat were not so serious. And then they too were forced to stop in Wellington for emergency repairs.
This race is non-stop, and we stop. And this, for me, is not very happy.
Temenos had a 36-hour start on Mucha Madrilena when they left New Zealand. Approaching Cape Horn, it's still Temenos that has the advantage. And at 2:30 in the morning on day 70, they reach Cape Horn. But for Javier and Pachi on the Spanish Mucha Madrilena, the disappointment in not reaching this epic landmark in third is outweighed by some surprise news.
Javier, you might like to know you were the fastest boat between the Cook Strait and Cape Horn.
Mucha Madrilena have been the fastest boat in the whole fleet, from New Zealand to Cape Horn.
Me imagino que sabréis que
You know that for any sailor, it's their dream to go around Cape Horn because of their tradition with the earring.
él ahora tiene 45 años.
Patch is now 45 years old, and until now, like all sailors, he has always been a bit crazy. And I think it's taking him such a long time to do this because first, he wanted to grow up as a person.
Como persona. Y lo de cruzar el Cabo de Hornos.
What can I say? He's finally achieved his lifelong dream.
The prize? To win the first ever non-stop round the world yacht race for teams of just two. The life at the front of the Barcelona World Race is about to get even more intense. The two leading boats are pushing hard, and one of them is about to face trouble. The British boat is on the attack. Hugo Boss, skippered by Alex Thompson, is chasing Barcelona World Race leader, the Irish-French team on Patrick Verback, north up the Atlantic. As these teams compete for a place in ocean racing history, the remaining two-person teams are sailing hard to escape the clutches of the Southern Ocean and round the tip of South America, the Cape Horn. On race leaders Patrick Verback, Jean-Pierre and Damien have been looking forward to Cape Horn for days. But now they've rounded, they're looking back at a British boat that's gaining.
It's been 5 days since we sailed around Cape Horn. This was a huge moment, even though it was at night. Since then, it's been very tough going, but not very fast. It's stressful because conditions favour the boat behind us, Hugo Boss. They're making a comeback.
We've just found our little high-pressure ridge, which is slowly slowing us down and giving us some nice, gentle sailing conditions. Just what we need.
It's not so easy psychologically, but Damien's holding up well, and we hope to have a plan of attack to leave Brazil in first place.
Since Hugo Boss rounded Cape Horn, they've gained 200 miles on the leaders. But they're now getting hammered by 50-knot winds, and conditions are taking their toll on man and machine.
We carried out in the 50 knots, the sea conditions are nasty and the boat falling off waves into enormous troughs. Some of the biggest downwind slamming I've ever had. It's just the slamming through waves is sometimes alarming, and the big seas will sometimes just take the boat away and steer it where you don't want to go. It's not really the wind, it's the power of the waves that can do the damage.
The Southern Ocean may have a reputation, but it's the Atlantic that's battering Hugo Boss. And there's a problem on the British boat.
Must be an iceberg we hit, a bit left over. Just under half of the bottom part of port rudder was gone. Sort of planned for the eventuality, and so we just repaired it as best we could, and we're just conscious that the boat's starting to get tired now, and we need to look after her and make sure we cross the finish line. It still feels like a long way away, to me anyway.
8,000 miles away, Gosport, England, home to Alex Thompson and girlfriend Kate.
Can't wait for him to come home. He is somewhere that's dangerous and horrible, and he's phoning you up telling you he's really cold and really tired. You can't help but worry.
I'm really looking forward to a bit of normality and a few beers and, getting drunk and falling over and, enjoying ourselves.
I think it's really important to Alex that his mates are there and there are people behind him all the way. That's what keeps him going, really. The fact that, there's people there to call on and everyone's watching the race and willing him on, it means a lot to him, it really does.
Alex Thompson on Hugo Boss and first place Patrick Verback are now leading the fleet north towards more tropical conditions. The extremes of the Southern Ocean now behind. But on Temenos, there's part of Michelle Perret that wishes she was back there.
I am starting to miss the south already, mainly because life is a bit flatter here, less emotional. It's quite simply intense there, and nothing compares to it.
1,000 miles back, Albert and Savan on Education Sin Fronteras reach Cape Horn. For Savan, rounding Cape Horn is the realisation of a lifelong dream, and one she's able to share with the supporters of her local football team, Stade Rennais in France.
Tell us, Servan, about going around Cape Horn yesterday. That must have been an amazing moment for you, especially as it was your first time.
I'm very happy to have gone around Cape Horn, the magical Cape Horn that all sailors should pass one day. And even happier to share that with you tonight at the Stade Rennais for what is likely to be a close game.
Let's have a big cheer for Servan, who went around Cape Horn yesterday.
British boat Hugo Boss is still making gains on the leaders. But at race headquarters in Barcelona, they're wondering if she's running out of racetrack.
It's starting to get to be a bit of a big ask, I think, with the amount of time and distance that's left to run in this race.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. It always was a hard task to recover the 2 days and make up the deficit we had in the first half of the race. But the weather still in front of us is uncertain. So, we're not saying we're ever going to get in front and win the race, but we're never going to give up. We're going to always try our hardest.
Leaders Patrick Verback are approaching the unpredictable doldrums, where boats can get stranded for days in light winds. When they sailed through this region near the beginning of the race, they lost their lead.
We are in the doldrums. Big cloud.
There are a lot of shifty winds. Sometimes 30 knots, sometimes none. I haven't seen the 1:30 yet, mostly not. Just trying to work our way through it.
Mystery of dark rooms. No wind, no wind.
Whilst the leaders have ground to a halt, Hugo Boss is charging up behind them. Halfway up the Atlantic, the British boat has halved the distance between themselves and the race leaders.
So shortly going across here. There you go, mate.
Lovely.
There's a coffee with a bit of Johnny Walker in it.
Hey, Northern Hemisphere.
Here we go, mate.
Okay, this is strong. Is there any coffee there? 3,000 miles to go.
3,000 to go.
About that, isn't it?
Seems a lot when you say it like that.
It is a long ride.
During their stopover in Wellington, the team on Hugo Boss were able to replenish food and drink. But this is Patrick Verbach's 80th day at sea without stopping, and supplies are running out.
Damien, explain me a little bit what you are trying to do with Jean-Pierre today.
Maybe just make sure that he doesn't starve before we get to the finish because he's run out of food.
Look at all the soup that is left in my bag. It's quite enormous, a number of soup. Minestrone, soupe à la tomate.
With Patrick Verbach not having stopped, and this race I think is probably taking a little bit longer than most of you would have projected when you were leaving here. Do you think that's wearing on those guys in terms of their supplies and what they have left?
I think most of us would have provisioned for 90 days. That's what we did. How many days have we been at sea now then?
80. This is day 80.
So they're not going to be in 10 days then?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe they will be running short.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll be waffle thin when they get in.
For the leaders, these are the final days in the Atlantic. But the route towards the Straits of Gibraltar is far from simple. There are very light winds ahead. And to avoid them and stay sailing fast, Patrick Verbach sails a detour, hoping the British boat will not cut the corner and gain massively.
Another good few hundred miles with a lot of wind upwind. What do you think about the forestay and the rig? Is that an issue, or are we happy? Or
it's an issue. We need to make everything possible so that it's all in place. That it would be a disaster if we would dismast the boat a few miles from the finish. I mean, imagine how distressed we could be.
The leaders hold their nerve, and as they're about to enter the Mediterranean, a famous victory is almost within their grasp. But they're tired and hungry, and their boat is vulnerable. They've already had one scare.
Oh, you know, anything can happen. You never know what's going to happen, and if anything's going to happen, the Mediterranean's probably the place it'll happen.
If everything goes according to plan for them, Jean-Pierre and Damien could be about to enjoy a hero's welcome in Barcelona. But make the wrong call about their route, will suffer damage, and the British boat Hugo Boss is ready to pounce. The Barcelona World Race is about to be won.